Are you the kind of speaker who spends quite a lot of time preparing your content? So you make sure your deck is looking really wonderful, you spend some time practicing, you know your stuff, and yet when you get in there, or even before you get in there, you have a little bit of a wobble and your inner critic has a party and gives you a really, really hard time. Now, if you're a confident speaker, that might only happen now and then. If you're a less confident speaker, then that might be happening a lot more regularly. I am going to talk you through in today's video, I'm going to share with you a wobble that I had recently, and it was quite a big wobble. And I'm a confident speaker. I teach other people how to speak. There was a whole load of inner critic stuff, which I will talk to you about in a moment. But I'm going to talk to you about why it happened. I'm going to talk about how I got through it, and what it made me realize was that I have a framework, and I really want to share that framework with you so that you can coach yourself through any speaking wobbles that you might have in the future. If you are speaking regularly for work and you want to be somebody who is seen as high potential, someone who is top of mind for those promotions, those pay rises, those special projects, then being able to speak with clarity, with connection to your audience, connection to your message, and connection to yourself, as well as speaking with credibility, is really, really critical. It will elevate your executive presence, which means you are seen as someone with potential. If that is really important to you, you know it's something you need to develop, and you know that a YouTube video is not going to be enough, then I would invite you to book a call with me to talk about our Influential Leadership Program. It's really designed for women in business who need to show up with personality and power and presence every single time they communicate. We have a cohort starting in September. We've just opened the doors to that. So if that is sounding interesting, book a call to have a chat with me. The link is down below. Now, back to that framework. If you are someone who has a speaking wobble, rarely, often, this is going to be really, really useful for you. So what was the situation? I was going into a very large global organization to run a session on storytelling. I love talking about storytelling. It's such a fun session to talk to people about, and it's such a lovely skill to explore, a very necessary skill if you are in leadership. So I was very excited about it, but I needed two people to coach, myself and somebody else. So I had a colleague who I've worked with before and I absolutely adore, was going to come and work with me. And then she landed an amazing gig, absolutely amazing gig, which meant she was going to be away for an extended period of time, which meant she couldn't come and help me. So I had to employ one of my lecturers from university, someone who was eminently qualified to assist me on this session, someone who's brilliant at what they do, but nevertheless, they were my teacher, my leader, my coacher at some point in my life. And I realized that my behaviors began to change. When I realized that I was going to employ this person and I was going to be working alongside them, my behaviors, my thoughts, my feelings around delivering this session began to change. I noticed that I was doubling down on my deck. I went through the deck that I've used before, which I absolutely love. And I was thinking, well, we need to add this in and I need some more research for this. And where's my evidence for that? I noticed that my thinking had changed, and going from, I love delivering storytelling, I'm really in my element here, to, oh my God, they're going to find out that I'm a fraud. They're going to realize that I don't really know enough to be teaching this stuff. I was feeling really anxious in my body, so I could feel myself tightening up. And all of that added together meant I was not doing my daily mindset work. I was staying up a bit later, reading my book, but staying up later. I was very busy. I was finding myself being really, really busy. In essence, I was trying to prove to my lecturer that I was good enough to be delivering alongside him, that I was good enough to be delivering to this corporate client, that I really knew my stuff. And it was creating this real grippy energy around the whole event. It was affecting my body posture, and I was finding it really hard to visualize myself delivering this session, which I love delivering. I just couldn't get myself to see myself in this scenario. And I realized this was happening, and I was like, okay, stop. We need to draw a line here, because I am projecting into the future something that isn't true and hasn't happened. So I need to rein it back in. I see what I'm doing. I forgive myself for doing it, but I see what I'm doing. So what did I do? How did I coach myself through this so that you can use that same kind of framework? I sat down and I had a big piece of paper, and I reminded myself of all the value that I have previously delivered in this session and all the other sessions that I do around leadership and communication. I then reminded myself that I know this much about my topic area. I know masses about it. I've got a master's degree in this stuff. I could literally write books about it. I'm not going to, but I could. This is how much I know. How much does my audience really need to know during that particular session? Probably about that much. So I don't need to prove to anybody that I know more than they need to know. And storytelling, it's not about knowing, it's about doing it, right? So people could go away, that group of people could have read every book there is on storytelling, which is fantastic, and I would recommend doing it. But it is not the same as being able to physically do it themselves. It is not the same as being able to embody that storytelling nature. That was what I was there to deliver, to help them embody an ability to tell stories. You can't get that from the book. So it didn't matter how much they knew, they don't know the bit that I was going to help them with. I realized that I'd been giving my control away. I've been giving my control to my old lecturer. I've been giving my control to the client. Maybe they will like me. Maybe they won't like me. Maybe they won't think this is good enough. I was giving away control. And that was not helpful. It was putting that sort of locus of control outside of myself. So I literally went around and I imagined myself picking up these little bags, these little kind of like sandbags of control that I delivered and given away to everybody. So I went over to Ben and I said, thank you very much. I think that's mine. Thank you for looking after it. And I took it back. I imagined myself going to the clients saying, oh, I seem to have left this with you. Thank you for looking after it. I'm going to take it back. And I went around and I thought about all the places where I'd left control outside of myself, and I brought it back in to me. And then I breathed. I stood, I grounded my feet. I really felt solid in my expertise by pushing my feet into the floor. And I was breathing deeply. I was breathing in really good, refreshing air, and I was breathing out all that inner critic nonsense. I was breathing in all that refreshing air, and I was breathing out all that nonsense. And then when I'd done all of that, I realized I could visualize, I could see myself. I could see the first slide. I could see myself saying good morning. I could see myself taking up that space and engaging people really quickly. And the minute that I'd done all of that, I stopped needing to prove myself. So what is the framework? It's 6 steps, essentially. So let me talk you through those 6 steps, just like I did. Number 1, what's your value, right? So piece of paper, all the evidence. What value do you bring to this conversation, this presentation, this pitch, this conversation, whatever it might be? What is the value that you bring, and where is the evidence of all of that in the earlier parts of your career? I want you to think about your sphere of knowledge, all the things that you know. If I put you in a room with a peer, a colleague who knows your subject area, you would talk unscripted for hours about your subject area, right? Just think about all the things that you know, all the qualifications, all that knowledge that you have absorbed into your system over the years of doing your job, right? It's huge. And think about what it is your particular audience need to know now, and realize just how small that is. Focus. So number 3 is focusing on how this is going to help everybody else. So for me, it was understanding actually they could know everything they need to know about storytelling. It doesn't mean they're doing it with their bodies, right? So I realized, the bit that I'm there to really help them with is the embodied practice. So How is what you're going to tell people going to help them? Then go around and retrieve your control. Literally imagine yourself going around, taking back the control that you have given to other people, your audience, your boss, the content, the day, the topic, whatever it might be. Literally pick it up, bring it back towards you. Breathe and ground. So grounding is helpful first of all. So just really feeling your feet on the floor. If you've got space and time, lie down, feel the support of the ground, and breathe deeply. Breathe in positivity, and you might want to use a colour or a temperature or a sensation for that, and breathe out the inner critic rubbish, right? You don't need it. Get rid of it. And then close your eyes and visualise yourself beginning that conversation so that you are really connecting with your message, yourself, and your audience. So 7 stages. What's my value? What's my sphere of knowledge? How is this going to help others? Go about and retrieve your control. Breathe and ground, and then visualize. And that should coach you through any speaking wobbles that you have, big or small. Like I said, mine was huge given the situation. When I look at it now and I look back and I literally want to laugh at myself going, oh my goodness, what was wrong with you? But my inner critic had caught onto something and it just wouldn't let it go. As I said, if you are someone who is really interested in really diving into this topic, really getting to grips with who you are, what value you offer, and how you can develop your executive presence over the next 6 months, then really do book in that call to have a conversation about influential leadership for women. It is a transformational program. The difference that it makes to people's lives is absolutely incredible. It blows my mind every time we do it. So the link to book that call is down below, and I look forward to speaking to you. Bye for now.